Each year, thousands of teens who get good grades and who've never been in trouble before die on the highway or kill someone else because they did something stupid, like drinking and driving. Tragedy never happens to you. It always happens to someone else. I lost my daughter Dori in a car crash. We want you to understand it could happen to you. This is the story of 4 people who never thought tragedy would happen to them or their families. This is the story of the cheerleader, the up-and-coming foodie chef, the drug and alcohol counselor, and the college student on spring break. We begin with the cheerleader and the up-and-coming chef.
In half an hour, her life is going to turn upside down, and someone's going to be dead.
Carly Tomica was a cheerleader at Treasure Coast High School in Stuart, Florida. She grew up with everything she ever wanted. After graduation, she moved to Miami Beach, where she was a full-time college student working 2 jobs. One of those jobs was here, at the Nikki Beach Club on Miami's trendy South Beach.
I was the youngest person to work there. I was only 20 years old. And everyone that I worked with drank on the job. It was kind of like a part of the job.
Stefano Riccoletti was an up-and-coming chef working in a trendy Miami Beach hotel. Negotiations were underway with the Food Channel and others about his own show.
He was a fantastic chef, and he made a lot of money as a chef. And they were working on him having his own show, his cooking show. So in the process of that is when this accident happens.
By now you've guessed who got drunk and stupid and who died. Here's how it happened. The Nikki Beach Club surveillance video captures Carly dancing behind the bar, having a good time. As dawn approaches and the club is closing down, she starts to act sloppy.
Yeah, that was like where she was stumbling around.
She leaves with a manager. Then she heads for home. Stefano was on his way to work in the pre-dawn hours. Carly was traveling 50 to 60 miles an hour, weaving down Collins Avenue on Miami Beach. At Collins and 18th, construction forced Stefano out of the crosswalk and onto the side of the street. Here comes Carly.
I thought that I had possibly hit a barricade or something in the road because at the time there was a lot of construction on Miami Beach.
But it wasn't a barricade. It was Stefano Riccoletti. Stefano was hit with such force, these police photos show he was literally knocked out of his shoes. Carly kept going, oblivious to what happened.
I'm actually just following a car that just hit a man on Collins Avenue. As far as I know, this man, he must have killed him,
Stefano was indeed dead. He flew 58 feet from the point of impact. Large chunks of flesh are visible on the ground. His head explodes like a watermelon on impact. His face unrecognizable.
Police say calls from a witness helps them catch 20-year-old Carly Tomica at her apartment complex, where the witness followed her nearly 40 blocks north of the crash.
Not looking like the pretty party girl any longer, Carly is arrested. Police find a big chunk of Stefano's scalp under Carly's passenger seat. Parts of his brain matter in her hair.
This Good Samaritan helped us out not only immediately finding this person and getting her off the road, but in the future when she goes to trial and help prosecute her and getting her put in jail where she belongs.
Officers have charged Tomica with leaving the scene of an accident involving death.
Stefano's unsuspecting wife, Patricia, got a call at work just after 9 a.m. Police insist she meet them at her home, telling her nothing until she sees them in person. Anxious uncertainty is building each second as her mind races with the possibilities. Stefano being dead was not one of them.
I went home and I found a police car in front of the house, and I said, "What happened?" And they said, "Well, we can't talk to you. We really need you to sit down." So we went in the house and they made me sit down, and then they told me that Stefano had an accident. So I asked them, well, is he okay? Is he going to be okay? And then they said, no, he actually died. So at that moment I stopped for a second and I couldn't believe it. I said, how is it possible? Because Stefano is not the kind of guy that dies. Stefano is immortal, he's strong, he's healthy. You can't just die. How are you going to tell your kids they lost their dad all of a sudden? It's not something you just say.
For Carly Tomica, in the back door of the Miami-Dade courthouse, horrendous trouble for the 20-year-old self-described Miami Beach party princess. Now, this day, facing more charges. DUI manslaughter. Toxology reports show her blood content after the hit and run at 2.25, 3 times the legal limit.
The victim in this case, Mr. Ricoletti, she struck him. The impact was so severe, Judge, that it caused brain matter, flesh matter, skull matter to scatter about Collins Avenue.
With her parents standing by her, Tomica fought to stay composed.
In life you make choices, and you clearly made choices that night. You made choices to drink. You made choices at this point in time. I mean, it's indicated that your levels were beyond anything ordinary.
The judge slapped the 20-year-old with a $77,000 bail. Tomica cuffed, marched off to be booked. The judge orders mandatory AA meetings, no drinking, no driving, and the judge orders house arrest and a GPS ankle bracelet.
As more months pass, Patricia forgives Carly and prosecutors offer a plea deal.
I killed him that morning. I had been drinking while I was at work. I got very drunk. I hit him with my car and I killed him.
The 20-year-old will spend 4 years in prison.
Driving away and leaving him to die was inexcusable.
A very different, shaken and remorseful Carly Tomica appears in court.
I know that my actions utterly shattered the hearts of his wife, his children, his friends, and all who knew him.
Carly Tomica had a model life. She grew up in a nice family. Had no prior arrests until the night she let drinking get the better of her. And that forever changed her life.
I was an honors student. I was a varsity cheerleader. I had a lot of friends. I spent a lot of time with my family. I worked 3 jobs in high school. Like I said, I had everything that I ever wanted. Great family, a good boyfriend, decent job, good grades, great friends. And now I'm in prison without any of that.
Prison is not easy for Carly Tomica.
It's horrible. It is the worst place in the whole entire world. I live among 70 other women from all different backgrounds, all different types of people, not people that I would choose to be around. It's a big room full of bunk beds, and you have people inches away from you, sleeping below you or above you. You share bathrooms, showers. There's not any doors on the bathrooms.
Today, Carly is here at Lowell Correctional Institute outside Ocala, Florida. She's one of about 700 inmates who no longer have a name, but have a number. It's not the life she imagined for herself.
This wasn't supposed to be in my plan or my future. Like I said, I was responsible, and I didn't drink and drive. It's not something that I did on a regular basis. It's not something that I took part in. I slipped one time and look where I'm at. That decision that I made that night will dictate the next 21 years of my life. That's how long my sentence is.
Carly's conviction shatters not only her life, but that of her parents as well.
I used to be able to brag about how great I was, and how well I was doing, and how responsible I was, how I was off at college and working and on the dean's list. Now they say that I'm in prison. This is all real. It's not a dream. I'm never going to wake up and everything's going to be gone. I'm really in prison. This is all real. This happened to me. And a lot of people say, oh, this could have happened to me, or this could have happened to anyone. Lots of people drink and drive. But it didn't. It happened to me. And people shouldn't take it so lightly. You know, I think people think the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to get a DUI. And they might lose their license for a year. But that's not the worst that can happen. People lose their life, and other people lose their life. All because of your poor decision making. I have nightmares that I go back to court. I have nightmares about the accident. I have nightmares that I get into car accidents myself. I have all different kind of nightmares. They're usually about either court or getting into another car accident. I did something wrong. I broke the law. And I deserve to be here.
You killed Stefano.
Yes, I deserve to be here.
Carly will be here until May 2017. After that, she'll serve 2 years of house arrest and then 15 years on probation. And if she does anything to violate that probation, including drinking again, she could be right back behind bars for the rest of those 15 years. Our second story is about two kids out for a final fling at the beach on spring break. Daniel Rocca was just 19, but his date, Sofia Fuentes, was 21. What could have been a budding romance turned to a nightmare. And it's a nightmare Daniel Rocca has most every day and will likely haunt him for the rest of his life.
What are the odds of finding someone like me? Who wants someone like you?
Daniel and his co-worker left Gainesville for St. Augustine Beach on the last Friday of spring break in 2011. Rain forced them from the beach, but not before drinking a couple of beers. They decided to head to Jacksonville. They stopped for a high-octane energy drink loaded with alcohol. Abruptly, Daniel changed his mind about going to Jacksonville and made a U-turn. Driving fast, weaving in and out of traffic, a mist fell on the road.
I told them maybe we should pull over because I was scared and I was kind of screaming and crying because I was scared of him. And I told him maybe he should slow down.
As Daniel roared up on the slow-moving truck, he veered left, passing the truck.
A car come out of nowhere, about hit us, run us off the road, caught the right tail end of a Lexus.
Witnesses described the crash this way.
That vehicle was just directly in front of you, I guess to your left in the left lane.
It was to the left. She was to the left, right in front of us, 40, maybe 30, 40, 50 foot.
Okay.
And when it went around us, I don't even know why the guy was going like that. Because he couldn't have went nowhere.
Right.
Driving the luxury car, 52-year-old Donna Lynn Frank, a drug and alcohol abuse counselor.
He had to be going every bit at 80 to 100.
Okay.
Had to be.
He was every bit of 100 mile an hour, I guarantee you.
Donna Lynn's silver Lexus began spinning counterclockwise on a wet road. She crossed the median.
Spun her around in oncoming traffic, and that's when the other green car hit her.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Retired teacher Gail Marston was driving a blue-green truck. The speed limit was 55, and before her eyes, the silver Lexus was in her lane. Her life flashed before her eyes. There was nothing she could do. The front end of her vehicle planted itself well into the driver's side of the Lexus. Gail Marston lost a leg, and to this day refuses to talk about what she saw from the driver's seat. A text message from her son says, talking about the crash is emotionally unbearable. Gail's truck crashing down on her was the last thing Donna Lynn Frank ever saw.
Once we were in the back of the vehicle, there was a strong smell of alcohol.
Surprisingly, Daniel and Sophia got only minor injuries. Their white compact turning upside down, skidding into a ditch filled with water. Daniel admitted to investigators he'd been drinking. Toxicology reports would later show his blood level 3 times the legal limit.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court.
The son of a chemistry professor was arrested and charged with DUI manslaughter.
This is a terrible tragedy.
Prosecutor Chris France realizes Daniel was just out on a date, but he has forever changed the lives of 4 families.
You have Gail Marston, who was retired. She was beginning a retired life to enjoy the fruits of her labor, if you will, and her injuries to her body will last her. Her suffering will last her the rest of her life. She can't do the things she had planned to do in her retirement and will never be able to do those things. Now, when you look at Donna and Frank, her surviving daughter was obviously distraught. Her mother was her best friend.
I live a clean and healthy life.